Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Mike Barletta here with another update on Tropical Storm Isaias. We have a ton of information to go through, so I don't want to beat around the bush. Let's get right into it. Before we do, if you guys could hit that like and subscribe button, trust me, it helps me out a lot. Thank you so much for your support. But let's start talking about this storm. So currently 70-mile-an-hour storm, hasn't changed much since yesterday, the last video. Pressure up a little bit. This is the 11 a.m. advisory. Currently have tropical storm warnings from Georgia to New Hampshire, with a hurricane warning from northern South Carolina to southern North Carolina. So that's really what we have to know right now. Track takes this, making landfall as a hurricane right through the border of North and South Carolina, and weakening to a tropical storm right through these areas that I'm drawing. A little bit of variability in the cone, not much, but that's that. So currently taking a look at the satellite, this storm had a better presentation yesterday. However, it deteriorated overnight, but we're starting to get back a little bit of oomph right before landfall, which is exactly what I expected. Definitely some convection blowing up near the center. Kind of was looking not so hot this morning. Not a lot of that convection, but we're finally getting some more of those -70 to -80 degree cloud tops starting to form, wrap back around the center. So I do expect some deepening. Currently the storm's situated around here, the center of the storm situated around there, going to be moving to the northeast as the day goes on. We'll be sure to track the exact path over here. So now taking a look at its current radar presentation, not the greatest picture, my apologies, but we have improved this presentation much overnight. Right before we went to bed last night, we saw an eye starting to form. If you guys haven't followed me on Twitter, that's where I post a lot of those updates, Twitter and Facebook, at Mike B. Weather. So make sure to follow me there to get these updates, as I don't post YouTube videos every day. But as you could see, we do have an eye feature starting to form. The only place that's not really formed is this southeastern portion, which has been the problem pretty much the whole time of this storm's life cycle. We just haven't been able to get that southeast portion of the eye wall to form. So we kind of got an eye to form yesterday. It collapsed. This time we're definitely getting another eye to form. Looking much better than it did this morning. We'll see if it collapses again or whether we're going to see this starting to strengthen. The big problem with this system was there was a lot of this southwestern shear. Now what's happening as this day goes on, there's a big high pressure anticyclone over here giving this southwestern shear. What's going to happen as this day goes on is this high pressure is going to tilt a little bit, and that shear is going to point more south to northerly. So therefore that shear is going to push this outflow up and not affect the center as much. So instead of cutting right through the center, it'll kind of help the outflow move up. That's the very basic definition of it. If you guys could understand that. If not, drop a comment down below. I'll be sure to try and explain that. But sometimes shear is good for a storm if it is oriented in the right direction. That's what we're looking at here, and that's why we're seeing some strengthening of this core this afternoon. Didn't get it this morning, but shear's kind of lessening, changing the orientation. That's why we're kind of getting it now. So taking a look at the latest recon plane, you could see this center this morning was kind of jumping around like crazy, not totally defined. The plane was having a tough time finding it, and it rose a lot. Last night I think we were down to 993, 992. Now we're bouncing around, got back down to 997. No hurricane force winds. Those hurricane force winds are denoted by this purple shade. None of that right now. However, I do think this definitely has the potential to strengthen. You could even see the last pass. This was down 3 millibars, excuse me, from the last pass of the recon plane through the center. However, that recon did not hit the center exactly, because looking at this dropson, that's basically just a weather station they throw out of the plane to try and get some readings, and you could see each level they get readings and the wind and the direction. This dropson was not placed in the perfect spot. Ideally, you'd like to see this say 0 knots of wind, but it says 37, so that means it wasn't a perfect throw down there. So that pressure of 997 likely is not the true pressure. It is likely lower than that, somewhere around 993, 994, which is showing us that this is really a strengthening storm right now. It's something we're going to have to watch throughout the day, see if that continues throughout the day for North and South Carolina. That's going to be the big question. So taking a look at these impacts for rainfall, we see there will be some rain, not a ton, not like a lot of these cyclones you hear dumping a foot of rain, but definitely still a threat. In this yellow shading, this is from NOAA. We have 4 to 6 inches of rain extending from portions of eastern South Carolina all the way up through western New Jersey. And as you could see, the western portion of the storm track is what's really going to be getting the most rain. Storm is going to track something along these lines, and you could see western portion is getting the rain, eastern portion is getting the wind. So we're definitely going to have a lot of rain with this, not a crazy amount. NOAA is pointing to a maxima just east of Washington, D.C. of 6 to 10 inches of rain. Be interesting to see if that works out specifically, but this is going to be a fast-moving storm. Right now it's moving north at about 8 miles an hour. Once we hit landfall, there's a trough that's going to be picking this storm up. It kind of looks like this, hence why the rainfall gets cut off over here to the east. This storm is going to start to get picked up by this trough. It's going to swing through to the east, and it's going to really accelerate this thing to the north. So this storm should go from making landfall to being in and around the Delmarva Peninsula in about, I would say, 12 or so hours, which is a very fast-moving storm. So taking a look at another threat, storm surge. Not a whole ton, good amount for a lot of areas. The maximum is going to be 3 to 5 feet around where it's making landfall. Rest of this area, especially further north, 1 to 3 feet. Nothing too crazy. If you live on the beach, of course, it's something to be aware of, but nothing really insane. But just something I thought that you guys should definitely be aware of. Now, looking at the forecast for the Northeast tomorrow, before we get into the wind forecast and everything like that, we'll definitely get into that. I know that's what everyone wants to see, but I want to talk about the tornado threat. This is the HRRR forecast for tomorrow, the significant tornado parameter, which is STP. Usually on severe days, you get a significant tornado parameter of 1 to 3. Really severe days, like 3 to 6, and extreme from 6 to 10. And as you can see, with these eastern bands of Isaias, we're getting an STP from anywhere from 3 to about 6 or 7, which is very, very high. I would not be surprised to see a lot of tornadoes coming ashore. Likely weak tornadoes. I have to say they most likely will be pretty weak tornadoes coming ashore. This band is going to be moving north and east throughout the day, so definitely heads up. Coastal New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, Western Connecticut, I have to say, definitely a big shot for tornadoes. I would say right around this area, especially as that easterly band whips through the region. Big chance for some weak tornadoes, some water spouts coming onto land. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if we see a tornado watch. Something I was expecting with the last storm, Faye, that we didn't get. But definitely would not be surprised at all to see a tornado watch tomorrow. Big, big, big chance of severe weather. Gonna have to keep your eye on the sky. Gonna have to be watching those updates from your trusted local source, because definitely a chance for tornadoes. That's a threat that sometimes goes undiscussed when talking about tropical cyclones. Everyone wants to know about the wind, but tornado is definitely a possibility, and you could see that in the SPC Storm Prediction Center outlook for tomorrow. This is the day 2 outlook. 5% chance for tornadoes in all these brown shaded regions. Doesn't sound like a lot, but for this region, very, very high. Rarely will you ever see anywhere in the country getting above to a 10 to 15% chance for tornadoes. So for the Northeast, for this tropical cyclone, 5% chance for tornadoes, definitely high. Something we are definitely going to have to watch tomorrow. And especially today, as this storm is making landfall over South and North Carolina, seeing if anything spins up, and that'll get us ready here in the Northeast for tomorrow. Now, taking a look at the maximum wind gust forecast, this is from the National Weather Service. I generally agree with it. 70 miles an hour in all this red shaded, getting close to Philadelphia, Trenton, most of the coast into Long Island. 70 miles an hour plus, very strong storm. The reason this is happening, it is not going to be fully tropical up here. As I stated before, we're going to have a trough picking this storm up, taking it north, and as it's taking it north, it's definitely going to be strengthening because it's going to be undergoing a process called extratropical transition. Now, it's not too important exactly what that means. I don't want to put you guys to sleep, but just know that that's why these winds are going to be so strong over here. Not going to be fully tropical, but not going to be anything to just scoff at either. This is a serious storm, a real threat. We could see a maxima over Atlantic City currently, 75 miles an hour. That is hurricane force wind gusts. Hurricane force wind gusts over portions of the Northeast. So definitely a real threat. We gotta watch the winds tomorrow, especially along the coast. Very dangerous situation. People should stay inside. Definitely a high chance of losing power, especially along the coast. We're going to have to see how this forecast works out. Currently, I agree with it. There is room to go higher, in my opinion, in isolated cells. I would not be surprised to see people pushing 80, 85 mile an hour wind gusts. However, for right now, I think this is a really good forecast by them. And you could see further inland, nothing too crazy. As I said, the storm's going to take a track somewhere along this line. East of it is where all the wind is going to be, towards the coast. East is the wind. West, as I said, is the rain. Someone in here is going to pick up half a foot of rain, good amount of rain, and with 20, 30 mile an hour wind gusts, possibility for some power outages out there too. But the real big threat is going to be the wind from a lot of these areas east. So taking a look at the current NAM forecast, you could see exactly what I mean. This storm's going to be moving in this direction. Further west, not too windy. Further east, that's where we're going to get our real wind. The NAM is pointing out possibility of a hurricane somewhere in there. Hurricane force winds moving north right through western and central Long Island. Definitely going to have to keep an eye out for that, especially portions of Long Island, portions of New Jersey. This has a chance to really be a strong storm. A storm, something that we have not seen since 2012 Hurricane Sandy, where we did get some very strong winds. We haven't gotten something like that in quite a long time from a tropical system. Very important to be alert, be aware. You could see this big maxima of wind of over 50 knots. Pretty big area scraping along the New Jersey coast, about to go right into Long Island. Could be a very dangerous situation. I'm personally going to head to the beach tomorrow, see what it's all about, try and get some awesome wind readings. We'll see. Everyone's definitely got to stay safe out there. The UK Met, most of the same. Very strong storm, southern New Jersey, moving northward. Now this is 925 millibar. This is about a couple thousand feet in the air. What you're seeing here, all of this dark 80 knot wind gusts at this point. This means that at any point when there's some rain bringing these wind gusts down to the surface, because they're high up, a few thousand feet above you, with rain, those can come down to the surface. UK Met is suggesting we could potentially get wind gusts 80 to 90 miles an hour. Personally, this model has it much higher than that, but I think the model's overdoing it, definitely. Think it gets something crazy, 110, 120 miles an hour. Don't think it'll get that high, but it certainly argues that 70 to 80 miles an hour wind gusts definitely possible, especially along the areas where I'm about to outline right now, all along the New Jersey coast into Delaware, right through Long Island and portions of Connecticut. It could be a dangerous situation. We're going to have to watch this closely tomorrow. Definitely going to come at you guys with another update tomorrow. Make sure to like and subscribe. I put a lot of effort into these videos. Takes a lot of time. Follow my Twitter and Facebook for more updates throughout the rest of the day through tonight. You guys have an awesome day. If you are in the path of this storm, please stay safe. If you got any questions, direct them to my Twitter or in the comments down below. I'll be back soon with some more content. Stay safe out there, guys.